There are two types of people. People who love one-on-ones and people who love to meet people in groups.
You're talking about conversations, right?
Yeah. Yes. So yeah, fundamentally, I think that there are people who love to meet new people one-on-one, and they feel that it's natural. For some people, it's natural to get into the group, to go to networking events. What about you?
Do I think that people split in those two groups? Mm-hmm. Well, whenever someone says there are two groups of people, I always think gradients, for sure.
I don't like it as well, but I mean, like, we're trying to bring some opposite opinions.
Hot takes.
Yeah, hot takes.
But actually, in this case, you might be right. At the same time, my take may be even more hotter, because are there really people who enjoy these group things?
Maybe the room full of people gives you this feeling that you have more options of meeting the right people.
Maybe it's just like the image of a social person. So I go out, I hang out, there's like party all the time, a lot of people, and this is a kind of social success that I'm imagining.
Yeah,
which is bullshit to me, complete bullshit. I think it's nonsense.
A way of
but
hanging out.
Maybe that's something that people have in their minds when they think about like meeting people.
Do you agree that for some people, one is more natural than the other?
I definitely talk to multiple people who specifically say that one-on-one is my thing. Like I enjoy talking to someone, and I don't enjoy going out to parties and networking events. It's just like not my thing. I know that networking events is kind of a popular thing, so a lot of people go there, but I've never actually met anyone saying like, I love that. It's just like, I think it's something that people think that they need to do. It's kind of work.
Kind of forced?
Not the force, but like it's just...
It's like a job to be done.
Yeah, it's a job to be done. It's just like a checklist that you need to check. It's not that something is necessarily better than the other, because if you think about group settings and you imagine like a collective action, so you do sports or you do some, I don't know, crafts or book clubs. I think it's a kind of cool thing. Why not? But you have to do something together. People evolving and developing and expressing themselves while they're doing this thing. And I think this is a great thing to know people and to see, like, I like this guy, I like this reaction. Oh, I don't like it anymore because something has changed. And now I see his reaction to a different situation. And I think it's very important. That's how people used to interact previously. That's like the most natural way to do this. But I think if you gather as a group with no common action, no common agenda, I think it's just a waste of time.
That's true, a little bit. These two settings definitely have different dynamics. And what are the dynamics? Like, to me, one-on-one conversations, they bring focus, they bring more intimacy, they bring less distraction, because in the group setting, there is more about performance. There is a lot about hunting, because you're basically hunting on people, like who do you want to catch and talk to. I was watching this video of Simon Sinek. You know the guy, right? He had this famous TED Talk, I don't know, maybe like 10 years ago, when he was talking about your why. Yeah. And he's actually writing a book on friendship right now. He was just saying that he doesn't feel comfortable in a group setting.
Doesn't feel comfortable. Yeah, that's the word.
He enjoys one-on-ones, and he's like, whenever I go to some group meeting or events where people invite me, I just enter and then I leave. So I think the awkwardness of you coming to an event is that you enter the event and you have to figure out what do you do. If it's badly facilitated, you are there on your own. Even though you are in a group setting, you're always there on your own. You need to figure out, like, who do I talk to? And this is stressful for most of the people, because you don't want to bother some people. Or sometimes, you know, there are these people when you're at the event and you just entered and you want just to figure out what's going on here. And then there is someone who is like, so what do you do? And you're kind of hit with that question from the very beginning, while you still wanted to have your time on your own, just to fill the room, you know. You don't get to talk about anything like seriously. It's small talk, and while you're talking, you see that the other person is searching the room for some other candidates he's going to talk to next. You feel disposable at the networking events.
Yeah, this is true, and I think awkwardness and this wall between the people, because like there are very few signals that can help you to figure out like, who do I reach out to? Like, who is who? Like, am I allowed to do this? Am I not? If there is no facilitation, it's really, really hard to feel comfortable and, knowing what you're doing.
But there is rarely a facilitation.
Agree. And I think that's one of the biggest problem of most of the events.
Yeah. And then when you enter the room, you're always like, is it okay if I come up to that person, or should I come to that person?
Well, most of the time, of course, it's okay. But what's the point? What's the reason? Why are you doing this? Who is this guy? And I think all events are still very different. What I mean is that if you're taking like really networking events,
they feel very transactional.
Totally.
Yeah.
Like it's super transactional. But what I mean, like, okay, there is like startup founders / investors networking events. They have their problems, and like I personally hate this because there are founders. They are like starting to talk to each other, not to look weird. Like they're absolutely not interested in you. Yeah. They are looking for an investor to talk to. And they're talking to you, but at the same time they're scanning the space for someone who's signaling that
who's worth talking or whatever. Like it seems like everyone is pretending that they're having fun, but at the same time the whole setting is very strange.
It's anxiety and search and awkwardness in the space, and I just hate it. Like there is no conversation, nothing really interesting. Professional events, like for instance conferences, they can be interesting because you know the topic that you're in, the industry, and it's cool when you're one of the speakers. Basically because you have this talk or you have at least this poster with your face and like a tagline, so people know who you are and they can approach you with like a very specific questions. And you have some expectations, and I think in this case it's good to have expectations because it's not about getting to know other people. It's about learning stuff. But if it's more like open networking events, there's definitely someone who is trying to sell something, and you're most likely one of them, and you're just like selling things to each other, which is a meaningless waste of time to me. I would say it's like a very awkward, inhumane experience. That is the reason why I definitely prefer one-to-one.
Going to multiple events, you kind of check the box of socializing, but if you think about it, like, have you really connected with anyone on deep level? Most probably people won't say that they did. But if we're talking about real connection, you don't find it on this event. Unless you get to talk to one person and you stick to that person and you have time to get to know that person, even though there are multiple people around. Like I had this type of experiences, and that was very different from jumping from one person to another.
Yeah, so you're making one-on-one in a group setting. The best group settings are a group of people who you know, or at least you know someone from there, because if you have a friend or ally, at least, they will introduce you to other people, and then it's different group dynamics. That's the reason why it's so cool on the breakfast. So you get to know someone, and then you can get invited to a party by someone you met on the breakfast, and they will bring up other people. That's what's happening. And this is the beautiful thing, because you already know someone or you heard about someone. This is the community. This is how it's built, because you really need to know someone as a person. You need to have this conversation. You need to know the background of the other person in order to know them just a little bit.
Because if it's a group of people you know, it feels very different.
Totally.
And you don't have that problem of being awkward, and it doesn't feel transactional. It feels warm, feels good in a setting when it's one-on-one. There is no way to hide. There is no way to run to the next person. So through the chat, you figure out each other, you get to know each other. People tend to think that for extroverts, it's natural to be in group settings. And for introverts, it's more natural in one-on-one setting. But I'm an extrovert. For me, the group settings are not very comfortable when it's a group of totally new people.
Why not? Like what's...
I love the depth of the conversation, and I don't get it there.
Okay, but does it make it uncomfortable?
Yeah, I mean, like, what's the point?
Yeah. Introverts and extroverts are all humans, and I think the fundamental need is quite common. You just want to feel seen, to know something new, and to feel this connection between you and someone else. There is very rare occasions when you can feel the great connection within a group. Either something super important happening, I don't know, a religious or musical experience, or it's a group of friends. It's a group of people that you trust and enjoying being around. And you do something together that really inspires you.